Hello, everyone, and welcome to metroTV. I'm your host, Andy Hoig, publisher and CEO of Metro Magazine and Midland's Business Journal. We have a great show for you today. I'm talking to Laura Stasny. She's the executive director at Nebraska Wildlife Rehab. And I'll also be talking to folks at the Omaha Children's Museum. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, I am here with Michelle Chartrand. She is the Chief Advancement Officer for the Omaha Children's Museum. Michelle, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So let's talk a little bit. It's that time of year, Omaha Children's Museum, your annual gala coming up, always pretty much the first Saturday in May. And this year it's virtual. And for the kids' benefit, do you know what is the year on this? Do you know what
was
year,
the what?
What year?
Oh, the year for the benefit. It's the 43rd annual benefit.
Goodness, 43rd.
Wow! And it'll be the 45th anniversary of the museum this year, actually. So,
okay, so lots to celebrate. Well, let's talk about the gala, the For the Kids' Benefit, and kind of what people can expect. And obviously, it's different this year.
It is a lot different this year. Yeah, normally we're getting the museum all prepared. We're closing an exhibit upstairs and get everything set up. And this year we are preparing for a virtual event. And so it'll still have that derby theme. It'll have a little bit of the same look to it. The event will kick off with an auction on April 21st, and everything will be up online. And then on May 1st in the evening, we will host a viewing of the derby. And then after that, we'll kick off a virtual program. So a little different, but still have the same feel to it.
Absolutely. So people, I mean, you can buy tickets for this? I mean, take me to kind of the process.
Sure. So you can go to our website, ocm.org, and we have tickets available for purchase. It is free to attend the virtual event. There's no cost, so anyone in the public can log in, bid, and then watch the live program. We do have food packages as well. So we have a food package for two, which includes a charcuterie board and wine for two people. And then we also have a gathering package if people feel comfortable enough to host a small event in their home. They can pay for a party for 10. It'll be a little bit of a larger food package. It'll include 5 bottles of wine and some kind of fun derby attire and centerpieces to kind of make it look a little festive. So.
Okay. Well, encourage people to take some photos because we'll do our kind of after the event photo spread. So encourage people to take photos and get those over to us, and we can include them. But why is this benefit so important to the museum?
So this is the museum's largest annual fundraiser, and it supports educational programming, exhibits, events, and it also just supports the museum's day-to-day operations. And so coming off of 2020 and kind of all the challenges we faced, along with, I'm sure, every nonprofit in town, this event is really critical for us, and it'll really help us sustain our operations. We are, still operating at a limited capacity in the museum, and so we're not seeing quite the attendance revenues or the operating revenues that we would typically in a year. So we are, we're really focused in on trying to make this event as successful as we can, and hopefully it'll provide some support for the museum for the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And then hopefully next year we'll all be able to gather back at the museum because it's so much fun. I love this event. It's just, you kind of, as an adult, get to come and play at the museum for an evening and also support it. So
yeah, it is. It's we wish we could be hosting it in person. There's nothing we love more than seeing everybody at the museum, but it's a great event.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about kind of the exhibits happening at the museum and what's going on right now.
Yeah, so we will be opening up our summer exhibit, Game On. It's going to open on May 29th. We'll do kind of the usual summer opening that we have. We are still having guests required to purchase tickets in advance just so we can kind of monitor the capacity in the building. But we'll have Game On opening on May 29th. We also have our Fairy Tale Land exhibit that'll be open all summer long, and there will be our princesses will make their appearance in the summer. So you'll be able to come in, see the Fairy Tale Land exhibit, but also get to meet the princesses, which is always very popular for the guests. So yeah, so it should be fun.
Yeah. So what are your hours? So are you open 7 days a week?
Right now, we're still open Wednesday through Sunday. And
Okay.
so starting in the summer, we'll extend it one day. So we'll be open Tuesday through Sunday, and we'll be extending our hours 9 to 4 during the week, 9 to 5 on the weekends. And then we're also offering our summer camps. So during the day, we'll have summer camps in the museum going kind of like normal with new safety precautions in place. But we're excited to be able to welcome our summer campers back this year
Yeah.
and kind of have some semblance of normalcy in the museum.
Yeah. And I'm sure those kids are excited as well. So,
They're
well,
very
let's just talk a little bit about the safety precautions, that you're taking right now, that people can just expect and be aware of.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very similar to what you see in a lot of places. We are still doing the obvious PPP, requiring masks, hand sanitizing, 6 feet, all of that stuff that we're kind of getting used to anymore, it seems like.
Sure.
But the museum has been really fortunate in the fact that we have been able to make some modifications to the building. And so probably one of the most important things that we have done is install a new air filtration system in the museum.
Okay.
And so we have these giant machines placed all over the museum that's basically cleaning the air on a constant basis. And it really gives us that, just extra added layer of protection on top of everything else that we're doing to make guests feel safe. And we're still at a limited capacity. So right now we're serving about 20% of the audience that we would typically see. So it's not that crowded experience that maybe you've seen in the past. It is a really great time. You kind of almost feel like you have the museum to yourself a little bit just because we're in such a limited capacity. And so, we'll see what the summer brings. But right now our main focus is making sure that our staff is safe and our guests are safe. And as long as we can continue to do that, we'll continue to operate the way we are. So,
Well, we've got about a minute left. So, how can people contribute? What does the museum need if we want to donate, or just contribute anything? What are your kind of your needs right now?
yeah, I think the biggest thing that we could do is just encourage your friends. If you visited the museum and you've had a great experience, encourage them to come. And I know as life kind of gets back to normal, it's kind of weird to get back into those ways, but we love seeing the families in the museum. We encourage people to visit the museum, to purchase the memberships. Annual memberships are a big source of support for the museum. And if you have the means, I know it's a challenging year for everyone, but we always appreciate donations from the community. Financial contributions are really kind of the lifeblood that keep this place operational. And so yeah, any of those would be great ways to support.
Okay. Well, the Omaha Children's Museum, such a contribution to our community. Not all communities have, children's museums. So it really, in 45 years, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Michelle, so much for joining me today. And I will see you virtually. I'm going to make sure I register and attend the event. So thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Andy. It's great to see you, and it was nice to talk to you. So.
Yeah, you too. And folks, we'll be right back. Welcome, my friends. I am excited to be here chatting with Laura Stasny. She is the executive director for the Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, one of my favorite nonprofits and one of my favorite people. Laura, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love being with you.
I know there is lots going on for the Nebraska Wildlife Rehab and in terms of wildlife. So let's just dive in. Spring. What does spring mean?
Oh, I mean, every year spring means baby animals, of course, right? So Right now, we have over 160 baby Eastern Cottontail rabbits. We have over 60 baby fox squirrels. We also have a bunch of baby raccoons. We have baby opossums. And those numbers will only increase. So we have well over 200 babies right now. And I would expect in the next couple of weeks for that number to double. And in fact, May is our busiest month every year. Every year we get over 1,000 animals in May. And last year, I think we got 1,400 in May. So we are, we're gearing up and we're taking care of babies around the clock right now. And those numbers are only going to increase as we move into the summer.
All right. Well, then let's talk about that process. How do the babies find you? And I also want to go into some educational things too when it comes to babies, when they should be brought to you and when they should be left alone.
Absolutely. So the majority of the baby squirrels that have come to us are true orphans. So people find them either because their nest is blown down and their mother hasn't picked them up, or they're following people around, which is something that baby squirrels do when they're starving and they're looking for help. And the raccoons are kind of a mixed bag. Some of them come to us for the same reasons. Some of them have come to us because people have pulled them out of their chimneys. When people pull raccoons or squirrels out of their chimney, or they cut down a tree with a nest in it, as long as the babies are unharmed, we take them out and give the mother time to reclaim them. And so we've been pretty successful with most of our raccoon, we call them reunifications. Most of those have been pretty successful this spring. So that keeps our raccoon numbers down and keeps baby raccoons in the wild with their moms where they belong. So we've been pretty successful in those fronts. The opossums we've received have been true orphans. We haven't had any of those. But the majority of the rabbits we've received have been what we call kidnaps. And that is people out doing gardening. The weather's been really nice. Yeah. People out gardening, they find baby bunnies and either A, they don't want them. And so they pick them up and they usually drop them off at the Nebraska Humane Society. And we take all of their wildlife every day. Or people believe that because they haven't seen the mother rabbit, that those babies are orphaned. And that is generally not the case. So rabbits only feed their young twice a day, and they'll never come to their nest when a predator is there. And of course, we are predators to all wild animals. And so as long as you're out in the yard gardening or, pasted to your kitchen window watching the rabbit's nest, the mother rabbit's going to know you're there and she's not going to come and feed her babies. So we have a very helpful little tip for people if they want to know if the mother rabbit is coming. And that is to take dental floss and make a tic-tac-toe pattern across the top of the nest, and then leave the area for 24 hours. If you totally can't handle 24 hours, just overnight is enough. Yeah. And if you come back and the dental floss has been moved, it means the mom is feeding her babies and no intervention is necessary. For all people, we want them to know that baby rabbits are only in the nest for 2 to 3 weeks and then they disperse. If you can be patient and just let them have their 2 to 3 weeks in the safety of your yard, that allows them to stay with their mom where they belong and not come here, because although we do our best and our staff and volunteers do a great job with rabbits, we're still inferior to mom, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And do you get a lot of deer? Because I remember we had a conversation about baby deers.
Yeah, so deer are an interesting case. In Nebraska, they're illegal to rehabilitate. So we can't rehab them, but the good part of deer is that the vast majority of fawns of white-tailed deer don't actually need our help. Okay. So deer have an interesting survival technique, and that's when their fawns are very small and don't get around very quickly. When they're eating, they will lay their fawn down in the grass and leave them there quietly laying in the grass, and they'll go off and eat for 4, 6, 8 hours. Periodically, the doe will come back, nurse her fawn, lay the fawn back down, and leave again. So if a person comes across a white-tailed fawn that is laying quietly in the grass, they should absolutely leave it there. They may not see mom, but leave the fawn there. As long as it's laying quietly, mom will come back and get it. It's when you kidnap those fawns, when you take them, that you're putting them in danger. So the humans, they don't mean to, they're trying to do the right thing, but they inadvertently put the fawn in danger. The only time a fawn would be considered orphaned is if it was running around crying without its mother. And that's when someone would intervene. But otherwise, just leave those fawns out in the wild where they belong.
Yeah. So if you do find, because I remember my first interaction, I think, with you folks, or one of them was, I mean, it might have been 5-10 years ago. I don't know. I found a little baby squirrel wandering in the street. And so at that time, I called, I ended up taking it to somebody's, like a foster person, a foster home, and dropped it off there. But if people, if we're finding squirrels, if we're finding animals, should we first call to find out what we should do? Just maybe even before, again, like you said, rabbits, don't touch them, do the dental floss, crisscross, but what do we do? So I find a baby animal, I find a squirrel.
Yeah, absolutely. We do recommend that people call our hotline, which is 402-234-2473. But also our website, which is nebraskawildliferehab.org, has a wildlife help tab. And underneath that, it will go through, oh, you found baby rabbits. Here are the circumstances where you rescue, and here are the circumstances where you leave them alone. So if people are just on the internet, which, it seems like everybody is these days, right. We try to put all of that information right there on our website. So it also might help you just get a quick answer when you see wildlife in your area. But if the animal is in immediate danger, so it's wandering in and out of traffic, or it's a baby squirrel that's following your dog, you can guess that that's probably one that actually needs help.
Sure. And before we go on, because I know you've got a big capital campaign that you're working on, let's just, in a nutshell, Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, because you guys have been around for quite a while, and the wildlife in our state, or Nebraska, Iowa, I mean, wildlife is just important. Wildlife is so important. And you have an incredible mission. And so just talk briefly about, the goal and the mission of the organization in general.
So Nebraska Wildlife Rehab is here with a twofold mission. We are here to rescue, rehabilitate, and return to the wild native wildlife and migratory birds. And we're also here to educate people about wildlife and wild spaces. So really, more than 90% of the animals that we receive every year come to us because of human action. Some of it's intentional, some of it's unintentional, but overall, humans are the major driving factor for things that happen to wildlife. And with education, we think we can help people understand how to live in harmony with wildlife. Because honestly, I think most of us would look at this and say, we don't want to live in a world without nature. We don't want to live in a world without wildlife. And so we are a local organization. We do work across the state of Nebraska for wildlife rehab, but we're based out of the Omaha area, and we're here to work with like-minded groups and educate the public about how amazing our native wildlife and our native wild spaces are.
Yeah.
And so to that end, we take care of every year at least 6,000 wild animals. It's been growing, so more than 7,000 in the last couple of years each year. And we reach about 25,000 people directly, either through educational programming, through our hotline, through answering questions on social media, email, things like that.
Right. All right, let's talk about the capital campaign, because that's something that's going on now. And yes. How's it going? So fill us in.
Pretty good. We are about, so our capital campaign goal for our new wildlife center, the Baldwin Wildlife Center and the Hubbard Family Veterinary Hospital right here in Omaha, is $4.75 million. It's a big number, but that is our goal, and we're over 65% of the way there. So we're getting very, very close to being able to fund the entire wildlife center and the entire veterinary hospital. What's going to be there are 16 wildlife nurseries to care for all of the animals that we receive year-round, as well as a state-of-the-art veterinary hospital to serve wildlife in our community. And we're extremely excited. It's going to be right in the heart of Omaha. And we're extremely excited for it, and actually have broke it. It's an existing building, but we've broken ground. We've started construction. But the capital campaign is ongoing, and we do need to raise the remainder of the funds by this fall.
And when do you think the center will open?
We are hoping it will open in late summer. Of course, we're at
this
the whims
year?
of this year of
Okay,
2021.
okay.
Yeah, we're at the whim of, construction and getting supplies in on time, and everything that's happened in the last year has delayed some of that.
Yeah.
But we are hoping for late summer, early fall of 2021.
So that's so exciting. I can't wait. I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to jump to Earth Day real quick because that's April 22nd. And how are you celebrating?
Yeah, well, around here we celebrate Earth Day every day.
Yes.
But what's happening this year because of COVID-19 is that Earth Day Omaha and Sarpy County Earth Day have formed like a Nebraska Earth Day coalition for the year. And they're doing a virtual event that runs from tomorrow, April 15th, through May 15th. And they have all sorts of cool stuff going on. But as a regular Earth Day participant, we have like a video and a quiz going up on our website. And if you come and watch our video about baby animals and you do the quiz, you'll get a special code. And Earth Day has an app where you can track all the events that you've done, the virtual events that you've done, all of the knowledge you've gained. And then they have prizes that they're giving out. So it's a kind of this cool month-long virtual event for Nebraska. And we will have a link to that tomorrow starting in the middle of our website. And it will also be linked from the Earth Day Omaha and the Sarpy County Earth Day websites.
Okay, exciting. So let's just talk briefly about Do Good Week, because by the time this airs, we're going to kind of be like right in the middle of Do Good Week. That's put on by Share Omaha. So that's a place where people can donate to you. So let's just talk briefly about that.
Yeah, so a lot of people now know in the Omaha area that the Omaha Community Foundation is no longer sponsoring Omaha Gives, which used to be a giving day in May. And so Share Omaha has taken up the mantle, and to replace Omaha Gives, they have Do Good Week, which is this coming week, which is the 19th through the 24th, I believe. And each day they have a different theme. So we're going to be making a lot of announcements, and by the time this airs, a lot of those announcements will have come out, so I can actually talk about them now.
Sure.
There will be Mission Monday for Share Omaha, which will be a time to share what we do with people. There's Wish List Wednesday, where you can go to our Amazon wish list and buy things for the animals. Volun Thursday, which I think is the air date for this, will be the day that we announce that we've hired a new volunteer coordinator for Nebraska Wildlife Rehab. And she will be relaunching our volunteer program, which really just shut down because of COVID and all of the things that we had to worry about there. So now is the time for people who want to volunteer with Nebraska Wildlife Rehab to get signed up, to start doing trainings, and really to get involved in rescuing wildlife in our state. So we're excited about all those things. We're going to announce them in conjunction with Share Omaha's Do Good Week, and hopefully people will donate, buy things from our wish list. I mean, this is replacing our Omaha Gives Day, and that is a fundraiser for us. But also a time just to raise awareness of Nebraska Wildlife Rehab and all the other really great nonprofits in our community.
Well, we got just a couple minutes left. So I don't know what this is about. I hear you have a sweet collaboration happening right now.
We do.
What is it? I don't know.
So exciting. It actually will be launched by the time this airs. We have partnered with Chocolate Abe, the chocolatier in the Old Market downtown. And they are making a series of wildlife themed chocolates. I love it. Adorable. And they will be available on Chocolate Abe's website, as well as we'll link to it from our website and from our social media. And also in store, if you're down in the Old Market and you go to buy chocolate. I mean, Mother's Day is coming up, so what a perfect time and a perfect gift for Mother's Day. And a portion of the proceeds of all the chocolate sales will go to Nebraska Wildlife Rehab. So we're super excited. The owner of Chocolate Abe, Tina, is amazing, and we're super excited to get to have that collaboration with her. And it'll run through the month of May.
Okay, awesome. Okay, bat release.
Yes.
When is that happening? It happened?
It happened, yes. So
when did it happen?
Just like the weather turned perfect right at the beginning of the month. So Saturday, April 3rd, we went ahead and did virtual bat release again. So it is, if people want to watch it and go look at the answers to all the bat questions, it is on our Facebook page right now, and we'll probably upload it to our YouTube page as well so that people can go back and watch it again.
Yeah, you've been doing that for years.
Normally it's right. Yeah, this is our 12th annual, our second virtual, hopefully our last virtual. Hopefully we can return to the Jocelyn Art Museum next year. If they'll have us, I hope so. But normally it's like the third or fourth week in April, but we just got some really good weather and we let them go already. So we have about 24, 25 left, but 400 went on that night.
Okay. That's wonderful. That just kind of got off my radar. So I'm going to go to your website and check out the video and photos. So, okay, we're down to the wire. This has been a great interview. I know people can volunteer. I know people can help. There's lots of information on your website. And
yeah, there is, at NebraskaWildliferehab.org. And then also we've updated our Share Omaha profile. So if you're over there looking at Share Omaha, look up Nebraska Wildlife Rehab and you'll find our information there as well.
Okay. Well, Laura, thank you so much. I mean, lots of information, and I thank you for what you do in the community across the state for wildlife. And it's just, I mean, it's a huge contribution. So
thank you so much. Yeah. And we appreciate getting the chance to talk to you, and it's always great to see you.
Yes.
So thank you very much. It was really fun.
Yes. And I hope to see you soon. So
absolutely. Yeah. We're going to get through this and then we can hang out and have coffee again. It'll be great.
Okay. Thank you everybody for joining me today. And I just want to remind you our current issue celebrating our healthcare heroes here in the Omaha Council Bluffs area is online. You can view it online. And also our giving guide, our spring edition, is also available to view online at spiritofomaha.com. And I will see you back here next week.